Why do we have countries today that has become hopeless? Why are we seeing big companies crumbling down before our eyes? Why are we seeing 14-year-olds holding guns and consuming drugs? Where did it all go wrong? You see, it all comes down to the leadership. There are many leaders who have no leadership position. There are many elected leaders who are not in themselves leaders. When we talk about leadership, we talk of something core to society and life. What does it take to be a leader? Who's a leader? Who contributes to positivity and success? You have so many arguments on whether leaders are born or made. But I tell you, leaders are not born. Leaders are not chosen. Leaders wake up and decide to lead. That's who leaders are. A choice not to whine about problems, but to find solutions. A choice not to be served, but to serve. Whether you are born with the qualities or they've been taught to you, you still need to make a choice. And the million-dollar question is, are you a leader? Among the many identified qualities of good leadership, great leaders show qualities of courage, empathy, confidence, integrity, accountability, humility, emotional intelligence, delegation, transparency, empowerment, self-awareness, trust. He should be a great listener. He mustn't be impartial. He must be impartial and courteous. Organizations don't elect random people into leadership positions. They elect people who are already displaying leadership qualities. To make it more clear, A, there are leaders, and B, then there are leadership positions. People choose to be leaders, and organizations place those leaders into those positions. That's why you shouldn't wait to be elected. Start now. Be a leader. Do you want to look back at your life in your old age and count all your regrets and opportunities you missed because of fear? Or do you want to fix that today? Fix that by gaining enough strength to answer your calling. Fix that by finding solutions to your problems. Fix that by taking responsibility and making the choice to lead. If you're a good leader, then the world needs you. Good luck. Gratitude. When was the last time you said thank you? No. Forget that question. When was the last time you said thank you and you meant it? Please forget about that question too. Here's a real one. When was the last time you said thank you and you acted on it? We are taught as kids how to say thank you. We know that we should appreciate when we are given something. Appreciate what we have. Be thankful for what others have done for you. Be a leader who is more than the words thank you. You must have gratitude. I'm grateful for the parents that raised me. I'm grateful for the lessons I learned over the years. I'm grateful for the opportunities afforded to me by those who believed in me. I'm grateful to be able to call myself a leader today. Yes, I'm grateful. But what am I doing about it? You may ask what the difference between being thankful and having gratitude is. Listen, being thankful only requires you to say words, thank you. But gratitude needs you to act on your thankfulness. I'm glad you're thankful for what I've done for you. But what are you going to do about it? How is it going to affect your life? How is it going to change your perspectives and decisions? Leaders don't simply say thank you. They show thank you. They show gratitude for the lessons you have learned over the years. Apply them in your life. Give back the empowerment you received from others. Hear me out. Gratitude is a thank you with legs. It walks with humility. Gratitude is a thank you with hands. It saves those in trouble. Gratitude is a thank you with soul. It does for others what have been done for it. You should realize that what you have done is a privilege and not a right. Take better care of it. Prepare yourself for more of it. Become a magnet of success. It's okay to tell your workers you appreciate them. You should also meet your colleagues individually to confirm their value. Show gratitude to excellent employees by providing them with more responsibilities when there has become less challenging. Know those you lead by name and share your thoughts on their work. Leaders with gratitude are leaders people learn to love. Among 1,000 people who are too afraid to chase after their dreams, only 3 are willing to try, but only 1 will succeed. Are you part of the 1,000? Are you part of the 3? Or are you the 1? You see, comfort is an enemy of success. But we like to be comfortable, right? What a great leader needs is courage. So you wake up in the middle of the bush, but soon realize that a wave of fire is closing in on you. Your only chance to survive through the torrid heat is to jump from the edge of a cliff to the other side of the field. The space in between the two sides is 1,500 feet deep. If you move a couple of feet back and make a jump after running at full speed, probably you could make it. Well, if you run fast enough, you could also fail. But this is your only chance for survival. Would you jump? Take a moment and think about it. Would you jump? Now let me make this easier for you. Remove the fire and danger. Take a moment and think about it. Would you jump? It's not your only chance of survival. In fact, you could go back home, but making the jump could improve your life experience in an unimaginable way. Let me ask you again. Would you jump? You see, the difference between a follower and a leader is that a leader is always willing to take steps that have never been taken before, while a follower simply walks on those steps. Courage is being able to take the risk and make the jump. If you fail, tough luck. But if you make it, you will not only make a name for yourself, but you give hope, strength, and courage for the many people who look up to you. And the great things in life are over the cliff. Your chance to impact the world. Your chance to turn your vision into reality. Be the one to make that jump. Because your courage could save the world. Here is how to be a courageous leader. Number 1, be uncomfortable in comfortable positions. Always take on new interesting challenges. Number 2, identify your fear. Write them down and talk to them. Let them know that you will not allow them to pull you down. And number 3, replace your fears with positive affirmations about yourself. Fear is a reaction. Courage is a decision. See you in the next. How does it feel to be rejected? How does it feel to know that the person you are interested in is not interested in you? How does it make you feel when you discover that you've been betrayed? How did you feel when you hit rock bottom? When you see a beggar asking you for $1, did you ever feel sorry enough to do something about it? Maybe very few, not all of us. Imagine a life without feeling. Sounds great, right? No more pain, no more sorrow, no more hatred, no more regret, no more conscience, no more love, no more affection, no more being missed, no more joy. Are we still good? Are we? All the decisions we take are meaningless until we can feel them. What is life without feelings? Part of our senses is a sense of touch, which allows us to feel physical things. Part of our consciousness is emotions, which allow us to feel emotional things. How can we say there is no love in the world when so many NGOs are feeding the hungry? How can we say there is no love in the world when doctors dedicate their lives to helping people? The truth is, we give a whole lot of sympathy than we do empathy. While sympathy is understanding that a man is walking, empathy is walking in the man's shoes. People don't need you to feel sorry for them. They just want you to understand. As leaders, we can get too consumed with problem solving, but we end up finding the right solution for the wrong problems. To be leaders with empathy, we must, number one, listen to those you lead. Sit down, take a deep breath, and just listen. Number two, never lead people whose shoes you could never wear. Get to know them. Understand the challenges they face. Number three, dedicate yourself to know everyone you work with by their first and last name. Your ability to feel will bring meaning to your mission. Have empathy. Thank you. What makes employees lose trust in an employer? What makes people lose support for their leader? What makes followers less motivated about a leader's direction? If you don't manage information, information will manage you. People will always make conclusions with or without your information. As a leader, you must decide. If they will make their conclusions with or without information, you see, bad news that is known causes less stress, but bad news that is speculated causes depression. A responsible leader leads with transparency. Transparency keeps you in control of the narrative. Transparency dismisses wrong perceptions and ideas. Transparency produces trust, support, and motivation. Transparency is important. If people understand you, they will support you. If people believe you, they will trust you. If people see your sincerity, they will naturally be motivated. People who know things are good are naturally motivated and work hard to keep it that way. People who know things are bad are motivated and work hard to change the situation. But people who are not sure of either are demotivated and are looking for an escape. Transparent leaders will always win confidence in those they lead. You can't be vulnerable all the time. You can't tell people each and every single thing you do. You can't let anyone in your personal space. I agree with you. Number one, but what you can do is communicate what's important. Number two, share some of your thoughts and views on where a project is headed. Number three, be able to communicate your worries and possible situations. A transparent leader knows that sharing is caring. Have you ever been to a social event and pulled out your phone for no reason? Do you take it personally when someone gives you a constructive criticism? How easy is it for you to raise your hand and share your view in a board meeting? Do you often compare yourself with others? If you answer yes to any of these, then listen to me very carefully for the next few minutes. Our confidence is broken by external opinions that have no internal experience with us. Who told you that you are not good enough? Who told you that you lack imagination? Be proud. If the only way you could succeed was through your compliments and affirmation, how far would you go? Walt Disney was fired from his illustration job because his employer told him he lacked imagination. That's right, imagination. Oprah was fired as a news anchor after she was told that she couldn't separate her emotions from her stories. How ridiculous this sounds. Well, you see, people don't understand your mission will have discouraging things to say to you. They don't say those things because they are true. They say them because they don't understand you. They don't understand your mission. And you may feel as though you are unlovable. The circumstances around you may make you feel like you are incompetent. And those things eventually become true because you'll always become who you think you are. You can try to be like your role model. You could even dress like them. But you'll never be as good as them because they didn't learn how to be themselves. They didn't practice it. But you see, you're powerful. You're unique. You're born with a set of solutions instilled in your purpose. And when you finally accept to be you, then you become very confident. Doubt threatens confidence. That's exactly why you have to surround yourself with the right people. Get better at being you by following your passion. Confidence is a language those around you understand very well. A man went to a Burger King dressed in a suit while driving an expensive car. He walked tall and started instructing the workers on what to do. He sat down to taste the quality of the food after assessing their kitchen. All the workers were at their best and provided him the best service possible. They all believed that he was the owner of the franchise, yet he never verbally claimed to be one. You see, the reason that they all believed that he was their leader because he dressed like their leader. He spoke like their leader. He walked like their leader. I repeat, confidence is a language that those you lead understand well. Not arrogance, but confidence. Confidence has a way of saying something before you even have a chance to open your mouth. Here's how you start showing confidence as a leader. Learn who you are. Study your strengths, your weaknesses, your potential, and focus on being just that. Dress up in confidence. Your body language says a lot. Put your chest out and walk like a leader. Be more optimistic. It's okay to accept reality when things are not working out, but put more focus on the things you can do. You will always be confident being you. If you're too tired to carry on, who will continue the work for you? If you're on your way to work and someone spilled coffee on your shirt, how much whining would it take to remove the coffee off your shirt? How long enough will crying about your terrible childhood help you become a better parent for your own kids? Tell me about someone who complained about their poverty so much that they became rich. You see, as long as you are blaming others for your current situation, you're far from improving it. I used to blame everyone around me for my own mistakes. It's pretty common. But I soon realized that I was born poor, but the reason I was still poor at the age of 18 or 20 was that I didn't take steps to remove myself from poverty by getting and showing the world my skills and ability. I had to learn that the only way I would build a successful business was by taking the initiative to start. I started the same year and failed many times, but I never gave up. I never blamed others for my failures. I took the responsibility on my shoulders. I took other people's baggage on my shoulders as well. Because they are too busy giving me excuses and never ever want to realize that they are useless at times. And they never want to be accountable for their unexpected outcomes. Take responsibility for yourself. That's where leadership is initiated. Leaders need to be accountable. Are you broken in pieces? Are you about to give up? Listen to me. No one is going to pick up those pieces for you. No one. None. What differentiates a leader from a follower is the ability to be accountable. You need you. Say that with me. You need you. You will only be as good as the amount of effort you put in becoming a great leader. Don't lead others until you have led yourself well. Imagine a leader who cannot take accountability. If you can't look at yourself in the mirror and be proud, don't take responsibility for making others proud of themselves. Do you want to be an accountable leader? Here's how. First, stop making excuses for your mistakes. Number 2, learn to love and appreciate yourself. Only agree to things you will do and learn to say no to things you are not willing to do. Start appreciating circumstances regardless of whether they're for or against you. Stop complaining and start fixing. Where there is no accountability, there will also be no responsibility. If you want your employees to be responsible, make them accountable for their outcomes and actions. Will Craig said, accountability is a glue that bonds commitment to results. Be accountable, become a great leader. Thank you. If we raise the curtains of your home at night, what would you see? Does who you are in the darkness match with who you are in the light? You see who you are when no one is watching. Has a way of coming out when someone is watching. No matter how hard you try to hide it, integrity doesn't begin with disciplining others. It starts with disciplining yourself. There is no place for success in dishonest leaders. There is no place for success in unethical leaders. Leaders should hold and stay true to their moral principles. Leaders should stay true to their values. Integrity is about honesty. You got to be honest to yourself. Would you choose convenience or what's right? Sometimes the right thing to do is too slow. Sometimes the right thing to do is makes you look weak. Sometimes the right thing to do will hurt your ego. Sometimes the right thing to do is too difficult. But the right thing to do is always the best thing to do. What we need are leaders with integrity. Leaders who understand that the possibility of being honest, morally sound, and just is endless. We don't reach a level of integrity. We live a life of integrity. We go through life making mistakes. We hang out with the wrong friends and find ourselves in situations we were not supposed to be in the first place. It's happened to you, it's happened to me. It's okay to admit that and say, I made a mistake. Integrity begins when we become honest about who we are. We don't control how our mistakes make others feel about us, but we do control how those mistakes makes us feel about ourselves. If you want to be a leader with integrity, number 1, stop trying to lead with perfection and start leading with integrity. Number 2, be honest with yourself and be honest with those you lead. And number 3, be more reliable to yourself and those who you work with. Number 4, dedicate yourself to the success of your vision. Time changes, seasons change, but a good leader's moral compass doesn't. Remain consistent with your moral values. People trust people who trust themselves. Trust your decisions and lead with integrity. Good luck. Who do you think you are? When you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you see? We often hear about important people intimidating others with the words, "Do you know who I am? Do you know who you are?" Yes, you graduated above your class in college. But who are you? Yes, you managed to start a sustainable business. But who are you? Yes, you've been promoted to a great position. But who are you? Yes, you made it out of poverty, but who are you? Behind the curtains of your success, your positions, your merits, your reputation, your country, your privileges, accent, your dress code, who are you? Humility has the answer. Being humble does not make us pretend to be who we are not. Being humble is not living a low standard when you can afford better. It's about realizing that with all that you have, you're still human. And human needs human leaders. Now, let me tell you why you need humility. You see, humility makes you human. Humility builds trust. Humility opens locked doors. Humility makes you lovable. Humility makes you approachable. Humility saves you when you make mistakes. Humility keeps you in touch with reality. Humility reminds you of where you come from. Humility will lift you to a level all your success combined can never achieve. Being a humble leader teaches you to stop trying to figure out who's the best in the situation and start asking what is best for the situation. If you want to rise, then you should go down. If you want to teach, then you should learn. If you want to be celebrated, make others worth celebrating. If you want to be a leader with humility, you must learn how to be grateful. Who you are is a result of your environment. You came to this world through people. You were raised by people. Your community was made up of people. You went through your schooling years with people. Your career began with people. Who you are is shaped by people. You don't need to think less of yourself in order to be humble. You simply need to give others the respect you would give yourself. If you're going to lead people, be a people leader. Lead with humility. If you took a break from your responsibilities, how long would it take for your project to dismantle? A day? A week? A month? A year, or your lifetime? It's when you answer to most invites is, "I'm busy." It's when you can't sleep at night until you get it right. It's when your responsibilities are nothing without you. It's when what you do has not scaled for years. It's when no one understands the way that you do. It's when you can't take a day off. It's what I call the lack of delegation. If you're going to be a leader that will make a mark, leave a legacy, and create more leaders, you must be willing to delegate. You need to understand that rest is just as much as a method of success as working. But how do you rest if everything is dependent on you? Being a great leader is not everything falling apart because you took a day off or a week off. True leadership is having your idea remain alive even in your absence. That's what true leadership is all about. You see, a job begins when you know what to do, but leadership begins when you know what not to do. The best part about it is when you let others do part of your work, you create more leaders like you. It's possible that you can do a lot of things, but you can't do them all at once. You need to decide if you're loyal to your dream or your ego. Nothing is scalable until it can be delegated. The McDonald brothers grew one of the largest fast food chains by doing everything on their own. They allowed others to do the things they shouldn't have been doing in order to do the things they should have been doing. Delegation creates growth. A. Learn to let go. If you're emotionally attached to everything you do, it'll make it hard for you to let go. Learn to build something bigger than you. B. Learn how to delegate. There are people who can take what you do to a whole new level. C. Learn how to trust others with your work. You may always lose a personal touch to work when using others, but over time, it'll all be worthy. Great leaders delegate. Self-awareness. Don't confuse self-awareness with being selfish. Don't confuse self-awareness with being self-centered. Who are you? Where are you? Where are you going? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What is your personality type? You see, these questions sum up the quality of being self-aware. Before forming a strategic plan for your business, do a SWOT analysis of yourself. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know your opportunities, know your threats. Know yourself. Take care of yourself. If you cannot take care of yourself, no one will take care of you for you. When you know who you are, you know which battles to fight. You know which battles to avoid. When you know who you are, you know which spaces to avoid. When you know who you are, you know which opportunities to jump on. Decide what needs to change in your leadership style. Decide what needs to change in how you relate to others. Decide which of your habits should go. Decide who needs to go in your surroundings. Decide what and who needs to stay. Take control of your life. Take control of your leadership. Lead yourself before leading others. You see, if you can't be in control of yourself, emotions will control you. Others will also use your emotions to control you. They'll define your strengths. They'll define your weaknesses. You'll be a leader by title and a follower by deed. Know yourself. If you don't know who you are, then who should? It is just as important to accept who you are. Sometimes when you get to know who you are, you define yourself outside your present circumstances. You soon realize that you are who you thought you were. You were simply in the wrong place, around wrong people, around wrong habits. Self-awareness will help you believe in yourself. It'll help you set boundaries. It'll help you define your principles. Have a wonderful day. Emotional intelligence. If you cannot find happiness in $1, will you find it in $1 million? When was the last time you were furious? When was the last time you felt annoyed by someone's presence? Did you act on it? Great leaders are not people who fought and won unnecessary fights. Be fine with losing an argument and winning a person. Great leaders are people who find a way to kill the fight, not the person. When people can't control you emotionally, they respect you, they appreciate you, they trust you. Remember, the solutions you bring today will save 1,000 quarrels. You see, happiness is a choice. Even allowing external things to influence your mood is a choice. A leader knows how to control his or her emotions. Don't let an emotional decision cause permanent damages to your reputation. Learn how to understand your emotions. Learn how to understand the emotions of others. Choose your conversations wisely. Don't respond to every negative criticism you receive. Expressing joy and showing a smile under an attack will disarm your attacker. Expressing your emotions does not necessarily make someone a good leader. Anyone can be hurt. What's hard is still wearing a smile during the hurt. Choose to be happy and never allow anything else to make you happy or sad. A good leader has emotional intelligence. See you in the next. You always look up to somebody whether you want to admit or not. From fictional characters you grew up watching, to a present-day hero you admire. This could be a father or mother. This could be a pastor, a priest. This could be a successful person you admire. You do look up to somebody. You'll see boys pulling out their wrists to be like a Spider-Man. You'll see young girls spending their parents' money on expensive frozen toys. What your child is exposed to influences your expenditure. It's like the vacuum machine that you buy after watching a TV commercial. The change in clothing to match new trends. To the school teacher you said you would amount to something, and you are spending every day of your life trying to prove them wrong. You are surrounded by things that influences us. Know this first. The person who has the power of influence smiles all the way to the bank. The company you keep today defines your future. A child raised in wealth is more likely to be rich as an adult. A child raised in the Hindu religion is likely to be a Hindu as an adult. The people you spend more time with define your future. This is because we are mostly influenced by our surroundings. We don't learn how to influence. We will always influence those around us by being us. They will influence us by being themselves. What we can learn is how to influence others to become better. A leader must be influential. A good leader will then use his influence to build others. To be influential, you must be good at what you do. It's the little things that make people look up to you. Don't run away from trouble. Lead through the trouble. Succeed in the impossible and teach others how to do it too. Your reputation holds your influence. Make sure you guard it with everything. Authority is challenged. Influence is appreciated. People do better under motivation than instruction. Since leadership by influence is more sustainable, here's how. Number 1, speak with confidence. Number 2, act with dignity. Number 3, live what you preach. Number 4, teach with conviction. The greatest leaders will not need authority to get the best out of their employees. They simply need influence. Thank you. Gaining it takes effort. Losing it takes seconds. Regaining it takes decades. Without it, people fail. I'm talking about trust. Do you trust me? Should you trust me? Why should you trust me? Asking someone to trust you is a huge request. Yet, trust is one of the most important qualities in a leader. I was having lunch at a friend's place. We were outside his home when his 5-year-old son popped out on a window about 5 feet above. The mother ran inside to try and stop her son as we begged the son not to jump. It all happened too fast, and before we knew it, the son jumped. Many of us screamed, but this young boy jumped and fell into his father's arms. As we tried to make sense of what was happening, the boy then looked up and said to his sister, "You see, I told you my father would catch me." This is no ideal situation to test a father's love. It was a dangerous test, but we soon learned of a similar incident in the Middle East. In 2016, a 2-year-old took a jump from a 15 feet high roof when instructed by the father to do so in their war-stricken town. The child jumped and did not think twice about it. Can the people you lead put you to the same test? Would they survive if they did? If you jumped out of the window, whose hands would you rather fall on? It's hard to answer, right? What you build must be taken care of. But what you don't realize is, what are you trying to protect has always been taking care of you. That's why you have a better job title. What are you trying to protect has always taken care of your workers. That's why they have jobs. Understand this. You care about the project. Your colleagues care about it too. If it fails, you all fail. Be able to trust yourself. Be able to trust your workers. Because at the end of the day, you only have each other. Trust is not your right. Trust is earned. As much as your employees need to prove themselves worthy of being trusted, prove yourself worthy. Trust yourself. Some of the ideas that are blocked by your doubts need your trust. Trust the system. Your business or organization is the reason you are regarded as a leader. Trust is to contribute doing good for you. Trust your people. You employed them because you believed in their abilities. Trust them to handle responsibilities entrusted to them. Be trustworthy. What you say should always match what you do. Becoming unnecessarily unpredictable will cause many to lose trust in you. Meaning, do what you say and say what you mean. Leaders who trust or return the same favor. Good luck. Impartial. We lead people. They have feeling. They have thoughts. They make conclusions. The best feeling an employee can have is knowing that their leader favors them more. The worst feeling an employee will have is knowing that their leader favors another more than them. The emotions will flow the day you have to solve the issue between the two. I need you to listen to me very carefully. Don't judge a person you have never shown care for. Don't damage someone you have never shown love to. Don't punish someone you have never shown the direction to. The worst scenario a leader can find him or herself is having half of his workers feeling rejected because you acted in favor of the other half. A divided workforce kills itself faster than the enemy would. Love makes a leader lovable even when calling out wrong. Care makes a leader lovable even when you lose your way. Verdicts are not the first point of solving the problem. A leader must be decisive. A leader must have clear principles. A leader must guide. Don't ever lower your standards to accommodate opinions. Don't ever let your guard down to make everyone happy. Don't ever betray your moral compass to please people. Be smart, calculative, listen, and advise. A principled leader will always look and sound impartial. When people look up to you, what you say matters. What you do matters. Build a culture of dialogue and make sure what they say and do matters to you too. Being impartial doesn't begin when there's a problem. It begins when you start leading. A fair leader in good times will be a fair leader in bad times. Take care. There can never be two people on earth with identical fingerprints. Even identical twins have different fingerprints. This tells us that no one is the same. This tells us that you are special. This tells us that you are unique. This tells us that we can never be truly irreplaceable. Your workers can have the same degree and qualifications for the job, but they will produce different quality of work. They will respond differently to instructions. They will have different templates for solutions. They will subscribe to different religions, different cultures, different values, a different point of view and different backgrounds as well. With all these differences, the only way such relationships can be sustained is through respect, patience, and consideration to one another. This is why a leader needs to be courteous. There are about 7.9 billion people in the world, with about 325 million of them living in the United States. But how many times do you bump into the same person over and over again? Have you ever traveled far and came across a face you recognized? As much as we think there's too many of us, it's still a small world, especially when confined to a specific career. Never underestimate the theory of karma. Your current action will reflect your future results. The words you speak, the way you act, the things you don't say or do, I will meet with you again someday. But it's not only in things said and do. Those you deal with today, you might deal with them in the future under different circumstances. The worker you are dealing with today could be the gatekeeper for a project you will apply for in 10 years. The colleague who sits opposite your desk could be your child's teacher tomorrow. The kid you are mentoring today could be the country's president tomorrow. The lack of knowledge about the future means we don't know who we are truly dealing with today. We don't have to fear tomorrow. We only need to correct it today. We have to learn how to treat people well, in a way that we could like for them to treat us. Because guess what? Life is like a wheel. It spins all the time. A leader's success is often acquired through building great relationships. It's not a puzzle, it's a given. Great leaders are always courteous. How can we be better? Number one, initiate training based on helping workers gain mutual respect for one another. Number two, be considerate when those you lead raise concerns or ask for out of the ordinary questions or requests. Number three, learn your workers' thought process and learn why they do things a certain way. A courteous leader builds respect in the workplace. Diplomatic. How many of you have been victims of complicated compliments? Complicated compliments tell you what you want to hear, but they also tell you what you need to hear. Truth be told, they mess with your feelings. They mess with your emotional reaction. They make us smile after being told no. They make us feel good after being rejected. They motivate us in times of distress. They keep us going. Has anyone ever told you, we love your energy, but you're not the right fit? You have great skills that we are currently not in need of. You're overqualified for this position. You have something special, we just don't have a budget for it. Am I talking to somebody? Sometimes we are told destructive truths in kind ways. It's the art of diplomacy. Control the tone. Sometimes we are told destructive truths in kind ways. It's the art of diplomacy. Control the tongue. Control the emotions. Bring smart solutions. A great leader must be diplomatic. Know what to say, but also know how to say it. Relationships are not built on words. Relationships are built by ways in which words are said. Learn to negotiate. Wars have been ended by negotiations. Billion-dollar deals have been closed through negotiations. Legal battles have been ended by negotiations. Your business will succeed through negotiations. Your organization will succeed through negotiations. Negotiate, even with your workers. Your success depends on it. Don't take it personally when you become a target of rage. Emotions are not always reasonable. Add reason to every decision. Diplomatic leaders have no sides. Diplomatic leaders resolve while building. There's a time for everything. A leader's action needs timing. You need to know when to act. Don't respond in expected ways. Speak when you know you will be heard. Diplomatic leaders know that people listen less when they have an argument to win. Are you a diplomatic leader? Truth must be told. Don't twist the truth. Don't keep the truth. Don't postpone the truth. Tell the truth, but tell the truth with love. Choose words that build without giving false hope. To someone who proudly says, I speak my mind, there is a reason why we can't read your mind. Our minds think, our mouths speak. Let it stay that way. Leaders think, leaders edit, leaders proofread their thoughts before any word comes out of their mouth. We have always done things this way. How many times have you heard this statement? Businesses that struggle to grow suffer from this. Businesses that fail to adapt are not businesses. They are refrigerators preserving cultures that are no longer relevant. Are you a leader of a refrigerator or a progressive business? Almost everything we have and use gets old over time. Clothes get old, cars get old, houses get old, computers get old, cell phones get old, people get old. Listen, even traditions get old. Businesses must be able to adapt to our times. An open-minded leader stays relevant to society and its needs. Be able to spot dying ideas. It's when what you did is no longer aligned with what needs to be done. Being open-minded means you got to think outside the box. Be open to new ideas. Be open to change. Be open to constructive criticism. Be open to advice. Traditions that can't adapt eventually become poison to the very success they have built. It's okay to change your mind. Good learning starts with unlearning. Unlearning old habits is a drag. Don't allow old habits to hinder new ideas. Being an open-minded leader shows respect. A leader that listens to others is a leader that respects. A leader that respects will be respected in return. You don't have to do what people tell you. You don't have to act on everything that you hear. You don't have to make decisions based on advice. Being open-minded means being able to question yourself. If proven true, are you willing to change your mind based on the evidence? The truth is, a closed-minded leader listens to others. A closed-minded leader welcomes ideas. A closed-minded leader takes action on evidence. Now, here's more truth. A closed-minded leader only listens to those who say things he agrees with. A closed-minded leader only welcomes ideas aligned to his beliefs. A closed-minded leader takes action on evidence that accommodates his conclusions. Becoming an open-minded leader takes more than allowing external information. It's about internally subjecting yourself to scrutiny. Question your decisions, question your reasoning, question your leadership style, question your direction. An open-minded leader will have the intelligence needed to run a successful business in our times. Good luck. There are great things in life that money can't buy. You can use big budgets for branding and marketing. you can throw huge amounts for training and development. But if you're going to say something people will believe, if you're going to do things that motivate others, then you should know that charisma is one of the most expensive qualities you can gain for free. A young man stands at the podium and delivers a powerful speech. All he gets are eyes dry of emotions and a few hand claps. A young woman stands at the podium and delivers the same speech, but in a vibrant and believable way. The crowd affirms most of what she says by verbally repeating her words. The young man asks the woman, "Why do they scream for her and not him?" The woman replied, "If you don't believe it, no one else will. Don't just tell people, show them." You see, charisma is not necessarily about your personality and looks. It's about the amount of confidence and courage you show. That's what this charisma is all about. People are attracted to people who are confident. But confidence needs you to put in the work. Yes, put in the work. When you put your mind and soul to it, when you put your mind and soul to it, when you learn how to master it, when you become the best at it, charisma becomes a result. If you're going to say something for people to believe, you must believe it. If you're going to teach people how to master something, you must be a master yourself. So yes, you can acquire charisma. How? Number one, just be good at what you do. You will gain attention. Number two, believe in what you do. They will see it in your eyes. Number three, show care for others by giving more and asking less. Number four, compliment others for their work. Lead with charisma. Thank you. How many jobs have you had that still have a meaningful impact on your life today? What jobs have changed your perspective about life in general? How many bosses have inspired you to be like them? If there was one person you could go back to and tell that their ideas made who you are today, who would that be? Great leaders leave an impact. Great leaders inspire. And if a leader should achieve any of the two, a leader must empower. Be empowered to empower others. It begins with you. You need to realize that dreaming about success doesn't get you success. You need to stand up and train for it. You need to stand up and prepare yourself for it. Give yourself attention. Enough attention. Invest in yourself. It becomes easier to empower others. Self-empowerment is contagious. Be around people that build you. Be around people that help you dream. Be around people who motivate you. Because empowerment is contagious, touch somebody else and build more leaders in our society who are willing to invest in themselves and others. Train and develop others. Lead and help others become leaders. As a vision holder, it's your responsibility to help employees stop using the word impossible. The only way to do this is by helping them turn impossible to possible. It is by providing tasks that challenge them, tasks that explore their innovative abilities. Share your power by providing goals for your workers. Share your power by providing training for your employees. Share your power by motivating and scaling responsibilities to them. A great leader empowers. Responsibility. We keep blaming for not having luck. for not being accepted, for not being a winner. But have you ever thought the only reason behind all the inability is you? You know who you want to be, where you want to stand, but you choose to wait for luck to make it happen. Choose. Are you going to be the master of your life, or just settle being the victim of your life? Stop blaming circumstances and begin to take responsibility. Until you admit you stand there because of you, you cannot move for better. It's all about being responsible for your own actions. And if you don't, no effort can give you better results. For the good and the dreadful, take the ownership. Start taking control over you. Start complaining and find the way out of it. Look for answers, seeing successful people. Imagine what you can take out of them. Focus on what you can do better, not what others do to obstruct. Past is gone. Drop it and move on to succeed. Have the purpose of life displayed right in front of you. Keep reminding yourself often. It's your own duty to make it happen. Choose to grow. Choose to shine. Be the supervisor of your life. Only you can make your life better. This beautiful life is yours. So create your own opportunities. Make it purposeful. Make it happen. Be the captain of the ship. Take full responsibility when you make your decisions. See you next.